All right, everybody, and welcome back to Set the Pipe. I'm Sully, and the rest of the crew is here. CK, Bear, DDT, Dave DeTinley is here, and today we are joined by an 11-time national champion coach, Charlie Sullivan. Charlie, welcome to Set the Pipe, brother.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Glad you made it, Coach. Glad to have you on. Really excited to hear your story and get it out to a lot of people here.
Great to see you. So, like we said before, sit back, relax. Dave's got your bio here, and we're all tuned in. Dave.
Thank you. All right. Coach Sullivan has been the head coach at Springfield College for 26 seasons. He has led Springfield, as Sully alluded to. There's a lot of Sullys on this call.
Yeah,
national championships, including 5 NCAA Division III titles and 6 Moulton Division III titles. His overall coaching record is in the 700th percentage. Well done, Coach. 11 National Coach of the Year awards and 31 across all different orgs and levels. National Coach of the Year awards. Teams have dominated Division III, posting a 926 winning percentage against all D3 opponents. Coach, there's a reference to a 47 match winning streak in there. We'd love to explore that. In addition to that, Sullivan has coached over, what does it have here? 7 AVCA National Players of the Year and produced 66 All-Americans and holds numerous D3 records. I have to tell you, I was telling them off camera, I started looking through the currently published NCAA record books. I did a quick search for Springfield College. There's 140 references to records that your program holds. In addition to his college coaching, he's also done a lot of international and national team coaching. 2001, he was the head coach of USA Athletes International, and they won the bronze at the Arafura Games in Australia. 2007, the assistant coach at the FIVB World Cup in Japan. 2008, the head coach of the USA Select A1 camp. 2014, the head coach of the U.S. Pan Am team, which went on to win the silver at the Pan American Cup. 2016, scout coach at the Rio Olympics, where the senior team won bronze. And since 2021 has been the head coach of the U.S. boys U19 teams. And the latest, he won the gold at the 2024 NORCECA Games with this team.
Not too shabby.
So,
that's amazing.
welcome, Coach Sullivan.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, this is kind of customary for me to ask this. You're sitting back listening to all these things. I'm listening to them. All of us are listening to them. How does it make you feel to reflect on all of those accolades? And I know you're not doing it for you, but to hear that, does it make you feel great to just see what you've accomplished in all these years of coaching young athletes in this sport?
I never try to get caught up in the past. I have a lot of concerns, a lot of goals, a lot of thoughts about what I can do better tomorrow. So those things just kind of la, and I know what I got to do to be better tomorrow. So I'm more focused on my future than the past.
Yeah, great answer. But I'm going to hold you on a spot for this. When you reflect and hear this in a place like this, season just went over, you lost in the national championship, another opportunity, to play at that high of a level, to sit back and go, wow, I coached the Olympics. I've coached USA teams to gold medals. I've coached 11 national championships in college. I've competed for years. I've coached young men, helped them graduate and start their families. All of that stuff for you, is overwhelming is probably not the right word, but I know you're looking for the future, but it's got to just go wow, right? I mean, a little wow factor, at least for me it is, of what you've accomplished, because it's such an amazing career.
Yeah, I think the wow is more about the relationships and thinking about hey, Brandon Mueller, that was a phenomenal experience when, I wanted to be tight in the block and he trusted me, or seeing the guys run around afterwards, or, hearing their testimonies to how gracious they are to have gone through the process, and they've grown as people and players, and then they come back with their kids. And so if there's any wow, it's just about the relationships and the great people that have been around for all those journeys.
Awesome.
Coach, I got to ask you this. Up on one of the broadcasts where it was either in the semis or of this year's national tournament or the finals, something was mentioned that, did it really come down to a coin flip when you first arrived at Springfield College to decide what sport, I might have misinterpreted it, but what sport you would actually end up coaching? Is there truth to that?
Yeah, this is how most of my podcasts start. Someone gets wind of this story and they want more details, but it's not accurate at Springfield, but I graduated from Springfield College. I foolishly only had a goal not to work and to play soccer somewhere, and I had a opportunity to play soccer in England from September to December. I had a tryout in South Africa, the height of apartheid, 1991, in January. But so I ran out of money my first weekend in London. Phenomenal weekend, great time, and so I went to this school with another friend of mine, and we said, "Can we cut the lawn?" Or I'm an excellent painter, or something I can do just to make money. And they sent us to their sister school in Rome, Italy, where they needed an AD phys ed teacher, and I was a phys ed major, and my resume set up perfectly. And we turned down the job, and then we took the job to December. And then there was the first year the school had gone co-ed. It had been an all-girls school. And in the international school system in Rome, Italy, there was an all-males school, Notre Dame, and there was an American school that had built established sports program. The Notre Dame school closed, so all the athletes went to the American school, and we were the international school, and they didn't have a sports program. So the headmistress and the administration were really animated about starting a sports program, so an increased enrollment. And the first season was boys volleyball, and this headmistress said, "This is really important. We have to do a good job. We have to have a good team." I got out of the office. I was like, "I've never even seen a volleyball match before. There's no way I can do that. That's a lot of responsibility." And so the other friend of mine said the same thing. So we decided we would flip a coin, and the loser would be the boys volleyball coach. So my career started with a coin toss loss.
Loser.
And my dad
in Italy.
My dad explains it as I fell down the stairs and came up with a haircut and a shave.
It's a better story.
So that's how it started, guys.
That's a great story.
It's just so awesome because it I hear so many things from you can't be a great coach if you didn't play or if you never grew up around the sport. You're just obviously a prime example of someone that put the work in and fell in love with it and learned it, from there. But unbelievable. This was so great. We started this whole podcast to tell stories. What a hell of a story. Like you have 11 national championships, you have all these coaches of the years, you've coached the Olympics, and the only reason you coach volleyball is because you lost a coin toss in Italy to coach soccer or volleyball. Unbelievable.
This is a great podcast.
Okay. So all your success, Coach, what do you attribute it to? Like, did you have a mentor or anything? Or like, you've been so successful. How is that?
Well, Bear, just to continue on that story, I didn't even attend a volleyball game at Springfield College, but I knew of the coach. And so this is pre-email and stuff. So I wrote him a letter and said, "Can you help me?" And he must have Xerox copied a couple of chapters of a book and some drills and sent them back to me.
Xerox.
And
nailed it.
The first match, we were going into the match versus the American school of overseas, the other school in Rome, who we have to beat to have a good program. And I remember having nothing to offer in terms of volleyball strategy. I didn't even know there was timeouts. We had a manager, his name was Stefano. He's like 4 feet tall. I kept on saying, because I didn't tell anyone. I said, "Hey, the rules the same here as they are in America." And I said, "Do we get timeouts?" He said, "We get 2." And that's great, same in America. And then we changed bench. I was like, "Why is everyone going over there?" So we changed bench between games. I was like, "That's the same in America. It's unbelievable." And but my point is, Bear, to answer your question, is that I had everything to offer that group in terms of leadership, of cohesion, and leadership of working together. And that has been a foundation of every team I've coached since. And that's been the priority of every team I've coached since. Talked to one of the guys that went through the World Championships last with the U19 team, and they'll say, "Oh, Sullivan talks all the time about culture and attitude and behavior." And so I came up with some pretty good drills on my own when I first started practice. I had the facilities guys cut a board like 3 feet long, 2 feet wide, and they would hold that. And the serve would come, and I was teaching angles kind of blindly, like a blind squirrel finding a nut in the forest once in a while. But so some things I'm pretty proud of, like my intuitivity of just like tuning in and how to do these skills. But everything was focused around, I've been part of a good team before. Everything's focused around being a great team and working great together. And that's been the foundation of every team I've coached since. So pretty cool.
Well, I'm going to say this. If anyone's listening, hopefully you are, hit subscribe and always set the pipe. All you coaches from every level, listen to what Coach just said. Guy's one of the most successful coaches in the history of men's volleyball and didn't even know the game when he started. He built it on culture, teaching, camaraderie, winning together, losing together. You can win championships if you learn how to do it. And I'm sure as we're going to talk, you learn more and more on the X's and O's and got the right people around you to do that. But it's incredible. What an incredible story. That's why I love sports. You just hear stories like this all the time, that just success from pure dedication, perseverance, and just wanting to be, great at your craft. And I think you really qualify for all those.
Yeah, if I can go on, CK, the 2 stories I have. I remember in my room, like trying to write on a piece of paper, like here's the rotation 1 with setter, opposite, middle, outside. And then here's how we'll set up in serve receive. This is what we'll look at like in base position. And transition offense will look like this. I remember being able to do on my own, like a 5-1, a 4-2, a 6-2, and like stand in my room going like, yes, I understand the rotations. Like it was unbelievable. But forward all the way to last World Championships, and you mentioned we won the gold in North Secas with our U19 team last summer. That was to qualify for this summer's World Championships. 2 years ago, the last cycle's World Championships was in Argentina. We were the first USA team ever to make the semifinal, and the quarterfinal was versus Bulgaria, the number one seed in the tournament. And they have the setter from Long Beach, the current setter from Long Beach, the setter. And he wasn't even their best player. But we had both finished a really late match the night before to go to the quarterfinals, and then we had the first match of the day the next day. And I said to the guys, we got such neds. This is like JOs. This is like AAUs. Like we do this all the time. These guys never do this. And they didn't have the best, in my opinion, cohesion and culture of working together really well. And once we got into them in game 1, we spanked them. And once we got into them and got them, working against each other, we won that match in 61 minutes. We had no business winning that match talent-wise. We had no business hanging with that team, outside to outside, middle to middle. But we banged them in 1, we banged them in 2. They started to wake up in 3. I won a nice deuce game in 3, like 20-26, and got out of there to achieve this milestone of being the first USA team ever to be in the Final Four, and to do it by beating the number 1 team in the tournament. So it's all back to the same thing, and it was all about how we work together. And our good team cohesion, our good attitudes, our good relationship building was very evident in terms of our increase our level of play, but also decreasing their skill to do that, because they could compare looking across the net and know they didn't have the substance, right? They didn't have the foundation, they didn't have the skills and talent to battle that. And so that was really cool. And like I said, Bear, to start, it's all about how we work together all the time.
That's awesome. By the way, Moni was 16, so let's not throw him too much under the bus at that point.
Well, we were a year younger.
So he might not have been the best players at that point. At 16, but hey, on a U19, sorry, I love the guy. I'm just a big fan. So we
don't use our full.
That's a huge. That's awesome. I mean, that's to get in that kind of thing. And I got to play a little bit international too and stuff. Like what a great opportunity to coach that and to lead, like you said, the first time ever to be something with all the great volleyball players we've had in this country that have all played through the USA, that have all played through those things, to never get to the semifinals, and for you to lead a team like that there is pretty incredible. We've won gold medals in the Olympics, we've won silvers, we've won bronzes, and then to never win a semifinal, get to the semifinals ever at that U19 is incredible. And for you to get there, congrats.
Hey, Charlie, for you being a soccer player for so long, and then you had this opportunity to coach volleyball, did you ever get the itch to try to go back to soccer, coach soccer? Or was it just like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to dedicate myself, and just fell in love with it? Or because, soccer's a big deal all across the world, so I'm curious.
Well, I was a little freaked out when the national team started to be sponsored by Adidas, because that was like really conflicting for me. When I was wearing Adidas clothes, because that's all you wore when you were a soccer player,
right?
Know?
Yeah.
And so that was weird, but I did this 4 years at this international school and got better at coaching. I coached the volleyball team. I started doing boys and girls. Rita Crockett was at my school. Oh. Her daughter was in my 3rd grade class.
Wow! And
so immediately I said we need a parent-teacher conference to get on the same page here, and maybe I can ask your mom a couple questions.
How's my daughter doing in school? We'll talk about it in a second. What did you do in rotation too?
What is a rotation? Yeah. So, I was good tapping in her. I would go to the Messagero practices with her and watch them practice. I got to be in that gym. So here I am a month into my volleyball career, and I'm in the best club team in Europe's gym. I mean, I was just getting water for everybody, but I was still there watching and learning and absorbing stuff. It was amazing. So
no new itch to go back to soccer, huh?
No, so I finished that 4 years, and I fell in love with coaching. I had no idea I wanted to be a coach.
Just coaching.
And actually, the first moment I knew I was going to be a coach the rest of my life was the second season. That first year, I was coaching the girls' basketball team. Oh. And we had one American who could dribble the ball. The rest were players I'd never seen basketball before. A girl from Ethiopia. We had Val, who was a really good athlete. She was Italian. We had 27 countries in our student body. We were playing in the military league, like the Army base. We played Vicenza. Yep. We'd go to Sigonella, play the naval base. So we're playing kids that know basketball. They're Americans. They're tough kids. And we played this team, Vicenza. They won the league like the last 11 years. We were the last seed. They're averaging 35, 40-point wins. And there's no shot clock. So this is what I think I'm really good at secondary in terms of coaching is scouting and figuring out a way to be successful. If you watched our national championship final, you wouldn't believe me right now. But so
I was there. We can get into that later.
That was stories. I've actually slept one night since then, so that was really cool to get 7 hours of sleep.
I lost May 8th, 1993, and I still haven't slept, so I'm waiting.
We hear it all the time.
Trust me, I hear you, Coach. I hear you, Coach.
It's all good. But we got the ball, and they had a press. They would just press and score. They had 3-2, three-quarter court press. And I said, we can break this press. They go into a 2-on-2 zone, and we'll just dribble the ball at half court. And so we actually broke the press and dribbled the first quarter out, and they're freaking. It's 0-0. They're yelling like, "You can't do this!" People are throwing tomatoes at me. No shot clock. And so their girls are going, "Keep your hands up! They're gonna come! They're gonna come!" And we had a great person-to-person offense lined up, and we get the ball, break the press, second corner. We start dribbling. It's halfway through. They are literally losing their And so they finally come out and play person, and we run a backdoor screen, bunny layup, 2-0, and all of our girls run off the floor, start hugging everyone on the bench, and they go down and score a layup. This is what I was dealing with. This is the basketball IQ I was dealing with. So I go, if we ever score again, we got to stay on the floor and play defense. This was so we ended up losing that game 14-12, missed about 20 layups. But during that second quarter, when that all was going down and the goosebumps were coming through my shirt and my arm, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Awesome. This is where I'm supposed to be. And getting a group of people together and leading groups of people together to be the best version of themselves. It was coming out there, and that's when I decided I was going to be a coach the rest of my life. So to continue, as I went back to grad school after that 4 years in Italy to get a master's degree because I wanted to coach college. I thought I was getting a little bit more intense than the athletes at the level I was at. I wanted to get a more dedicated athlete. And so I went back, got my master's, and in my master's program, I was helping the soccer team and the volleyball team. I was still kind of deciding. But I think every soccer application and interview I did had another 100 guys with great accents, and the volleyball world had like 4. And I was starting to figure things out in volleyball. Our head coach all the time, I'd be like, why did they do this? And shouldn't we have done that? And can we do this? And start to make game plans and scout reports. And I just thought I'd give college volleyball a shot. If it didn't work out, I had a number of offers to be a high school AD, and I could always fall back to that. I just knew if I wanted to do this college coaching thing, volleyball is a better route or easier route, more obtainable probably, and I could always go down to high school if it wasn't successhairsuccessful. So that's kind of how I chose.
I guess some would probably maybe argue, but I think you turned out to be pretty successful.
Haircut and shave.
Haircut and shave. Out. It's working out.
He's still working on it. What he's done okay. Right? You're still working on it, trying to get better.
But that's what makes that again. That's to me what makes coaches like you, Coach Sullivan, great, and why like the people we've talked to on this show and is because one of the first things you said when we talked about your accolades was how I can get better going forward. What can I do to grow? What can I do to change to help these guys? You're always thinking about how to be better, and no matter how great you are. everyone can get better, right? I don't care if you're
Sure.
Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or you're Misty May. Like you can always still get better, and it's refreshing to hear a coach like yourself who's been doing this for such a long time, who started in a very unique way, that just wants to continue to get better, which only encourages and helps the athletes that you get to work with.
Yeah.
Those are some outstanding stories right there, internationally with Argentina and everything. I'm sure you got to have a very, very crazy situation that's happened to you overseas or internationally. Like, I don't know, showing up to a match like with a minute to go or food poisoning or something. Do you have anything like that? Something just a super crazy story internationally?
I think the craziest one was I was a scout coach at the 2016 Olympics in Rio. And so I was just scouting the opponents and helping out the staff a little bit. But at that event, and John will attest to this, it was insane. It was the last day of the Olympics, it's Sunday, the last day, and there was the soccer gold medal match going on right next to the volleyball arena. And we took the bus from our hotel, and we went to go to the arena. We were perfectly on time, and they wouldn't let us down the road, the military police. Our translator was doing nothing. And so we go around again, and we go down another road, and they wouldn't let us down. And it was getting kind of hectic on the bus because no one wanted to be late for the bronze medal match. And it just got that. I wish we had a better translator that day. He was just not. He didn't understand. Like,
it done.
This is really urgent.
Portuguese,
we need to
that
get
might
out of
be
the
your
bus
first
and
problem.
talk to the person with the machine gun because we need to go down the road.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
So finally, and it was I was like, I'm head of delegation or scout coach. I'm just supposed to be supporting and helping everyone. And John goes out, Sprague goes out, and he like literally moves the barricade and points to the bus to go down. And I'm looking through the window going,
Oh my!
this is a true TMZ moment right now. Like I probably should be helping John, but I don't want to die.
Choices in the world.
It's like literally lock it up. John gets pushed away, and we have to walk. We have to huff the last quarter mile to the stadium, in which it starts to rain. It's raining. Like, it's unbelievable. And we get there, and Rush is already there. They're like, why you go so late? It's like, well, our bus couldn't come down. Like, our bus came down, no problem. So that was the craziest scene, Bear. And it was really a testament of our players. Their focus wasn't wavered, and then we went out and lost the first two games. They lost the first two games and come back and just have all these things going wrong, and still persevering and gritting through that situation. But that was when John moved the barricade and the military police all came over. I was like, "Oh my God, this is insane!"
That's the stuff they don't always show you on NBC, and like that's the thing about being an athlete is, and you know, Coach, you've been all over, you've coached internationally, like. Things don't just work out easily where you get off your plane and you show up and everything's peachy keen and unicorns and rainbows. I mean, you're about to play for the bronze medal in the Olympic Games. Oh, sorry, you guys can't you can't come in here. What? What do you mean? Yeah, just go ahead and walk. It's only half a mile. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine before the match. It's good. You know,
insane.
It's crazy. Not
even in shoes. Everyone had like flippers on. Slippers on.
Right?
Like not even sneakers. Like insane. So
you've been all across the world. So when I vision any college coaches, no matter what level, in D3, you get all these opportunities to go all across the world. How did you get in that situation? One, and two, I'd love to hear your top 3 places that you actually visited and why.
Well, I think I got in that situation based on what CK was saying earlier. Doug Beal was the national team coach, and Doug Beal had got an honorary degree from Springfield College, the 100th year of volleyball. So he came out to graduation. He met our volleyball coach, and that's the guy I didn't know when I my first game. I mailed him a letter. He emailed me Joel. So our coach Joel Deering just went to Beal and said, "Would you take this guy to be your intern for the summer?" And I spent like 6 weeks with the national team with Doug Beal. Slept on the floor of the office. The more packages that came in, the more bubble wrap I could acquire. I had something resembling a mattress.
Were you in Colorado Springs at the office there in Colorado Springs? Yep.
I was trained in.
Yep, I know it.
In A1, the little office on the A gym closed at 9 p.m. So all the things had to brush teeth, go to the bathroom before then. The women's staff would come in every morning like, "What the hell are you doing sleeping on the floor?" I was like, "Don't ask, no one knows. Don't tell anyone. I don't want to mess this up." you know, Doug Beal he works people pretty hard, right? So he gave me, at the time, Spirito, the guy from Italy, was making data volley with Beal.
Oh.
He was a programmer. He was taking Beal's volleyball knowledge. And Beal had a scout program for his first 60 matches or so, but it didn't do anything really. It gave very minimal information. And so he said to me, I want to know what we're siding out versus jump serve versus float serve, what our transition percentages, like eight columns that this program didn't get him. And he said, he gave it to me at like 12 o'clock. He said, I want these 60 matches done. I want these programs. You have to open up the code for the program and read the code, the line of code. And I had to tally those 8 different columns. And so, I mean, I'm doing 2 practices too. They're practicing twice a day, and I'm setting up for the women's team. And so the next day after the first practice at noon, Doug Beal goes, hey, are you done with that? And I've done like 1.5 matches. And my whole goal, the whole 6 weeks, was never say I can't do it or no. I say, Coach, I'm so close. So close to being done with this. I'm going to crush this. I am like, figured I got it down in like 40 minutes a match. And I just had a case of Mountain Dew and like a case of Snicker bars. And I would just crush Mountain Dew and crush Snickers and got this thing done in like 2 days. Right? And crushed it. And then he wanted it on one piece of paper. So I brought him the paper and he goes, what's this? SOJS. I go, that's side out jump serve, Coach. But if you want different letters on it, I can put whatever you want on it. So I don't know about that. And then he goes, he dangles the paper. What's this? I go, that's the paper you wanted it on one page. He goes, where's the stock? I had no idea what stock was. I had no, like, I don't even, it was sticker paper. So I run out into the office. Remember, were you there when Daryl was there, CK?
Yeah.
He was the stat guy. Yeah. I go, God, does anyone have a manila folder? He's like, what? I was like, and I found one. I just threw the contents out. I cut the tab off, and I put that through the printer. I mean, I had the stock. Like 90 seconds later, I'm back in his office with stock. And it's the other acronym he wanted. And so he goes, well, I don't know if I would label this. I was like, he just complained the whole time. And it was on like 5.2 font because it was like 60 matches on one piece of paper.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God.
Magnifying glass. So my point is that this was only 2 or 3 days of my life for that 6 weeks. The whole time was like that. Wow. And I never complained. I never asked for anything. I didn't need food. I didn't need a place to sleep. I was in the gym or doing whatever assignment you wanted. There's only one time I had to say no. We scrimmaged Nippon Steel, a Japanese national team. Mm-hmm. Hiroshi, their best player was like the Michael Jordan of volleyball. He was on that Japanese team, and I was doing an iPad back in the day. This is like 98, 97.
Cutting edge.
This is like 99.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We had a touchscreen iPad that I could put like Millar and Soho blocking if they blocked the left side attack. And then I could get out of the entering program and get into the statistical program and give me like, what's your blocking percentage individually with whatever player I wanted to match you up with, whatever side. It was amazing. And but it took like a minute to get from the entering stage to getting the stat stage. And Beal wanted it in a timeout. And that's the only time I said, Coach, I can't do that. It's not possible. And he was like, what? I was like, that's the one time I said I couldn't do something. Yeah. And I think out of that, I never got a thank you or for a dollar or anything.
You want some more Snickers? Nothing like that.
No, I haven't had a Snickers since. I have not eaten a Snickers since. Halloween comes, I like stay away from the Snickers. But so I think out of that, all of a sudden I got the chance to be the assistant coach of the junior national team, and then I got a chance to go. Hugh Tushin brought me a lot to his international tournaments to be a scout coach. And once I got my foot in the door, I just continued to work hard and get more opportunities. When I when I had an opportunity to do my best work there, and I just kept on moving up. So
that's what really you got from it. Like you said, what did they give you? You got a career to go coach volleyball because you worked your ass off and did whatever it took to get it done and to show the staff, Doug included, what you were about. And incredible. Again,
I got to be all in. I got to be in the best gym in the world. I mean, here I am again. Like, I have very few years of volleyball experience, but I've been around the best volleyball in the world.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. That's amazing.
Top three places, Charlie.
Top 3 places. You know, I always want to go back to Italy with a team, but I've never been. So I speak Italian. It would be perfect. It's just never worked out, be with the national team or my U19 team. Argentina was great because I think the volleyball culture in Argentina is really special. They're really about maximizing their talent and doing things like I'm talking about as a team better than anyone else. And if it's a unique system or a unique kind of, you know, the pops and flares, all that stuff the middle's doing now, it was Argentina and Iran that started all that stuff. Argentina was really cool. You got me on the spot a little bit here. It's easy. I've been, Europe's great. I mean, we're going to go to Uzbekistan this summer.
Oh, nice.
So I don't really have a great top 3 for you, but certainly all the places we go it's always a great opportunity to see volleyball in a different culture because the things our men are doing, like you never thought you could do that in volleyball.
Yeah.
Like the opposite starts 10 feet out the sideline and they're just parallel to net, hits a back one. You're like, what? Like we would never tell our setters to do the stuff that Maruf was doing. But it's just part of you see their culture, see the Asian culture, how the Japanese team plays. You see the European culture, the German, it's just great to see cultures come out in volleyball, see different systems because, when you grow up with one system in the States, you think this is the way it has to be done. And then there's a whole nother way to do it. And that's one of my best lines about not being a volleyball person is like, it's really easy to think outside the box when you have no idea what the box is.
Right.
That's been great for me. So, yeah.
It's great. I have a question because listening to you talk about something, I think it's very interesting. So I've asked a lot of coaches this from Al Knipe. We've had, men's and women's coaches. I've asked them what's changed from the game back in the early 90s. I mean, you were there when you were coaching in Italy in the 90s and then where you're doing now. I've always asked what's changed from the game, like the difference from then to then. Obviously it's speed, but something you just touched base about that I think is I've overlooked it in the entire podcast that we've done here is analytics. When we played, guys were taking a piece of paper and just charting, oh, he hits angle, he hits angle, he hits angle. Yep. You just talked about what you were doing with data volley with Coach Beal and doing all this stuff to change and to grasp and to understand it. Do you think that's also a big reason over the last 25, 30 years while the game's evolved? Not just obviously the speed, the athleticism, everyone's bigger, you can serve, but do you think that has a big impact on why the game has changed with regards to analytics that wasn't really around when we were playing in analytics to an extent weren't really around in the early 90s?
Yeah, well, one thing to your point there, like Daryl, the stat guy for the national team, was like, you got to stop doing all this work because when you leave, he thinks he's going to think I can do this work. I was like, yeah, man, you're on your own, buddy. I got my stuff to do here. But I think CK, to answer your question, I think the stats haven't changed the game as much as the serve has. Like this just overpowering serve and therefore being better in high ball. Like even at the last Olympics, the high ball attacking efficiency and the strategy around it changed dramatically. Like it got better. Like now that we have the instant review where we can really see if it's off the fingers or not, that's added a whole nother level. And you see the Japanese team, they were blocking and they would just close their fists because you bring your hands down, it's too obvious.
Yeah.
So they would just bring their fingers down. And balls were going out and they weren't hitting fingers. Like that's I think the way the players affected the game creatively this Olympics was a huge step compared to other Olympics. Like that instance, that example right there, like all the communication that they're doing and transition it's just all so new. And I really think it has a lot to do with the players' intuition and their creativity. So, I mean, who would ever think to go like this? Huh?
You would always think to just drop your hands, right? Do that.
It's too, you can see it too easy. These guys see so much, it's too easy to see. Yeah. But I think to answer your question, I think the analytics it's almost like we all have the same information now. And so it's just like we're all doing a great job scouting because Volleymetrics is going to give me 100 pages of stats on your last 100 matches. So I think it's more about that.
I think there's ways to evolve to that too. I don't know what they would be, but like finding some new metric or finding some way to take an advantage of it. I think it's changed sports in general, like analytics, Billy Bean up at the A's and they talk about all of it to where they are now of if you look at basketball, the two best shots in basketball, even though no one likes watching it because it's the 3-pointer or a drive. No one shoots the mid-range anymore because they say, and it's the worst shot in basketball, which again takes away the game itself. But in volleyball, there's certain things you try to stay away from when it used to be prevalent or whatever would be based off the statistics or the analytics or what you're doing. So I thought that's interesting. And what a way to crack into the job. First of all, you take a coin flip. Fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and play. I'm going to coach volleyball. Then the next thing you know, you're sleeping on the USA Volleyball right off of Academy over there in Colorado Springs, sleeping on a bubble wrap, doing whatever it took, whatever Coach Beal asked you to do to get your chance. And they gave you a chance, and you've just hit a home run and then some. So cool.
Yeah, Coach Beal is always the first one I thank when I get the all-time greatest coach award, USA Volleyball and stuff. It's about his taking me on for some reason. I would never have a chance I had. So I'm really thankful to Doug Beal.
So you mentioned you're around the best coaches, staff, players, and then you travel and get to see the best, right? Like you're saying, just the new little nuances with Japan, putting their hands down. How much can you apply as being a sponge that you are and really being a productive staff member to Springfield, right? I mean, you're talking the best of it. We're not talking Division I kids. We're talking the best of the best in the world, right? How much can you bring, those ideas or the analytics, at that high level to Springfield? How much are you able to apply?
Yeah, so it's always interesting getting back in my gym, and the court looks so much bigger.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Geez. It's so small.
They're not 6'9". They're not 6'10". Yeah.
7 feet.
So,
they're not. Yeah, the libero's 6'7", and the two middles are 7 feet. Yeah.
Right. For sure. But I think it applies a lot. But going back to the things that are more relevant are our cohesion, our functioning together as a group, having the skills of being good at relationships. I think secondly, important wise is our mentality. I think I teach sports psychology at Springfield College. I've taught that class for 25 years, and
awesome.
I think the mentality around the game is more demanding now than ever, and I think that's of second most importance. So like when you see our national team play in Vancouver for a chance to qualify for World Cup, and there's 30,000 people in the arena in Vancouver, all Canadians, and we were doing that, and they played a video of Crosby scoring the overtime goal to win the gold medal in the hockey, and the place just erupts, and that gets our guys dialed in. And I have a 2-page scouting report at Springfield College. These guys have like an 8-page scouting report, and then to be the eye on the game and see what's going on and see them execute the scouting report perfectly in a variety of situations, their focus or their kind of like just knowledge of the strategy of the game and therefore the mentality. That's what I'd like to bring back mostly to Springfield, to our guys, because they're more mature. Maturity is they'll have the ability to be a big picture thinker. Like I always say, like ask my 3-year-old son what he wants for dinner at 9 a.m. in the morning. It's actually painful. He's like, wow, dinner. What's going on right now? It hurts to be so immature. And so have that global perspective about, what's happening right now and how it's going to affect the next hour or the next whatever time frame is really important. So I love to bring that stuff back to our gym and give examples of how the players were so focused and just so good at what they were doing mentally to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, if I had an opportunity, I'd go try to get my sports psychology masters if I could. I think it's really underrated. I think it's emerging, even though it's been out for probably a good decade solid, but it's still emerging. I think it's so important and just so underrated. But it's pretty exciting to hear that you teach that course. It's awesome.
Go ahead, Barry.
I was just gonna say, with your sports psychology masters, did that lead into writing those books that you've written? What can you tell us a little bit of that process and why'd you write books and what's that all about?
Yeah, we'll put those links below too, so people, those people that are listening right now, if they want to check out these books, they'll have them below for Coach. So,
well, first of all, I don't have a master's, and I like the prop. I don't have a master's in sports psychology. Just to be totally honest here, I'm actually pretty fraudulent. I'm not a degree recipient of sports psychology. I still teach intro course. They let me in, and I proved my worthiness a long time ago. But I had to prove it to the sports psychology department chair for a long time. But
Sorry.
the first book was I got back from Rio at like 2 a.m. Monday morning, and I had a camp at Springfield at 8 a.m. Monday morning.
Oh.
And then we had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Our freshmen came Thursday afternoon, and I lived like 45 minutes away from campus. It was my 3 kids' first day of elementary school, Thursday, the day that the freshmen came. And so I went back and forth like twice because I had to be at the opening pizza party at Morley Elementary School, and then be at school for my meeting, then go back to the 7th grade Shazam, whatever. And then I went back because I had my recruits coming to campus. I recruited these kids for 2 years. I had to be there. I literally had like 15 minutes. I had to go down to another elementary school event. And the spring before, I had a lot of the lacrosse players in my sports psych class, and they played in their NCAA match. And the day before, I gave them a presentation on the game of belief. And one of the players, his dad is like the most famous lacrosse coach in America, Kevin Sheehan. And he had coached like our USA national team. They beat Australia 32-0. The next year he coached Australia, and it was 16-16. So he has this thing going on in lacrosse. He's trying to be retired, but he's always pulled in somehow, some way to this day. And so Dylan records it. He said, my dad would love this. He retired from coaching lacrosse and became a researcher on hope and belief. And so I give this presentation to the lacrosse team. Dylan records. I'll show it to my dad. My dad would like this. And so that 15 minutes I had with the recruits and their parents after driving and doing camp for 40, I still haven't recovered from being in Rio. I'm getting like 3 nights of sleep in Rio, so I'm exhausted. And this guy, he's like 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide. And he comes up, he's like in my face, Bear. He's like, where the hell you get that stuff on hope and belief? Where did you talk about? I go, Doug, I was like, sorry, I don't know who you are. What's your name? Like, it was insane. And I end up going like, hey, I'm in my office next week. If you want to come stop by, we can talk a little bit and see you're brutally attacking me. And if I don't get back to the elementary school, my wife's going to attack me worse. So I have to go right now. So I'm out of here. And he came in the office and we talked for a long time. And he just didn't understand how I could put those things together about hope and belief. And the lacrosse team, I think I'm like 22-1 when I talked to a team on campus. I just talked to the softball team. They won their NCAA game about just, manufacturing some mentality about believing and having hope. And Kevin Sheehan is a great friend of mine to this day. It started with that first conversation. And he came to our practices and games for a year. He shouted our program and put all of our practical approaches towards these research items that he had. And he put his research towards our stories. And he really came up with that first book, Winning the Game of Belief. I don't think we won a national championship since that book's been published. So I tell him all the time, I'm a little pissed at him.
Shit, sold your soul, huh? Sold your soul, my friend.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
He was hoping we would win this year, but we blew it. So,
but you got to the championship, though. That's in itself.
Yeah.
I when I played sports growing up, that was my biggest thing. Was I've always believed in this, and I think that's been lost a lot in the last probably 5 or 10 years because just the culture and. Kids play 24/7. They practice all the time. Their parents think they're better than they are, and the mental crisis that we're having in this country, and all of these things that go into it. But at the end of the day, like I've told both my boys, and I still with my boy, if you have it here, you have a chance. You have a chance every single time you step on the court. If you're ready up here, no matter what your physicality is. I mean, obviously, if you're, you know what I mean. But you do have a chance. And I love to hear that you coach that, you teach that. No wonder you're so successful. I mean, just listening to this, I've read your accolades. I know who you are, coach, and all of these things. But to listen to you talk about that, and I think it's lost. I think it's a lost thing
for sure.
We go get kids, we train them, we do all these things, and we lose that part of the athlete mental part. Of course, the mental health and all of that stuff too, but the focus, the belief, the understanding, how you go out and win and practice and do what it takes to believe in each other, and more importantly, believe in yourself to be able to overcome anything. Like you said, you're up late, you're down here, you're doing what you can, but you're still able. Your team won the bronze medal, had to walk 1/4 of a mile in their shoes, right? You, John, everyone that's there, that's mental toughness. That's something more than just, holy shit, like I'm at the Olympic Games, we're playing for the medal. I'm supposed to be in the gym warming up. This is not my normal routine. What am I going to do? Like the panic instead of the calmness is a huge piece. And I just love hearing that. And I hope you do talks, and I'm sure you do, and try to help more coaches, especially young coaches, understand that part. John Spraw had a therapist, not a therapist, but a sports psychologist on his staff at UCLA. They actually paid her as a staff member. They were pretty successful, but I just wanted to say kudos that you do that. Obviously, it's your career and you love doing it, but it's a lost art in today's teaching of young kids. And I think it needs to be way more prevalent. We need to be way more resilient. We need to teach the mental fortitude for the elite athletes that want to get there. And that's why I love watching the Jordans and the LeBrons. I could go on forever. Like I said, the Misties. We can talk about the athletes today because they just had it here. They had it, and it's fun to watch.
I think the underdeveloped skill, and you said it before, like every big moment's going to have adversity. And what are you going to do in that adverse moment? And the challenge is that these kids go through the day, and if the moment's not Instagrammably worthy, then it's not a good moment.
You're
like
right.
They don't handle the boring. Like my son and I just drove 13 hours, and I was like, why don't you just put your phone down and look out the window for 2 hours and see what happens? Like you can't handle that. It's too boring. Like if it's not this worthy Instagram moment, then they trouble. So when they face adversity, and it's even more prevalent after COVID, the kids don't have the skills of facing adversity. So we're always talking about, that adverse moment, and it could be a moment that's not postable, but it's still a good moment to get a lot out of and move forward and grow from.
Have you coached any of your players' kids yet? Since you've been coaching for quite a bit of time, or do you have kids coming up in the pipeline that you've coached?
He's like, really, CK? Did you just ask me that?
No, I'm just asking. I mean, you've been coaching since the 90s. You've been around since the 90s. So, I mean.
I'm close, but I haven't got there yet. So
yeah.
Wait, Coach, to that skill set or the mindset that you just talked about, have you built that into what you look for in recruits? Do you now know what to look for?
Yeah. So unfortunately, when you're getting the crumbs, you don't get to be so picky all the time. So,
sure.
So the kid's jumping and hitting 11-4 with a good arm, I'm going to take whatever mentality he has. So,
you can train it.
Yeah, true.
I think it's teachable. That's what we're doing with our roster now. We kind of lost our roster 3 years ago, so we're getting better at handling these moments. The national championship match, as unfortunate it was for us, and Southern Virginia did a really good job. It's a learning experience, it's a learning opportunity. So, mistake's not a mistake until you fail to correct it. That's what we always say. So, if we can get back there and correct that mistake, that'd be an unbelievable opportunity for us.
We talk about failure all the time on this, just a learning moment. How are you going to bounce back? I mean, it's so crucial. Yeah.
That's really cool. We say failure is our fertilizer for success.
I like that. Failure is our fertilizer for success.
Wow.
So we're going for it.
You should actually coin that. We're going to use it. Failure is a fertilizer for success.
Ammunition.
I will always give you credit. I will always give you credit. That's great, because it's so true though. And again, go back to the mental part of the training of what you talk about in your classes, what you talk about to your athletes. Like, that's part of it. And this culture, these parents, and I'm a parent, but I've never talked. I was a coach's kid. So I've had a kid that played college. He's done playing college basketball. I have another one that's in high school, going to go play college basketball. I've never talked to one of their coaches ever about anything playing time, sports related ever. It's just a different culture that so many people do that, right? They're just so involved and engaged, and they can't let their kid fail. If they got a C in the class, they have to go talk to the teacher so their kid can get a B, instead of letting them know their kid got a C because they sucked and they need to get better. The parents are trying to correct it instead of letting them fail. And it's an important thing that we need to bring back around, not in sports, but in life in general, that failure is the fertilizer for success. Is that what it was? Yep.
That's what I wrote.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlie, it's interesting, the mental aspect of it, and you'll appreciate this. So when I do private lessons, sometimes you just kind of do body language and you listen to them. And I'm like, we need to talk this out, because you're not going to get any better until we start talking some stuff through. Right. And they coined the phrase Sully time. It's pretty funny. So, Charlie, yep. So, that's what they would say. I mean, you get an hour lesson and 45 minutes of it is we're sitting down talking of your volleyball lesson. Then the dad's pissed off because what am I paying for? Then 2 days later, he calls you and says, I don't know what you did to my kid, but she's in on time. She's eating at the table. She's doing her homework. Like I'll pay you whatever you want if you're going to keep my kid like this. You know what I mean? So just to put some light on you and the things that you're bringing to the table right now is absolutely brilliant. And I just wish it would fester all across our sport and all across the country, but it does take individuals that kind of get it, and it sounds like you didn't have quote unquote official training, but thrown in there and you had to prove yourself. And it sounds like it's really rewarded whoever you come across. So I think congratulations on that.
Do you encourage or do you encourage or make your student athletes take your class?
That's always awesome. Yeah, that's really great. I encourage them. Yeah, we have like 3 or 4 semester in there, so
do
it's
you
great.
Make them?
Make the question.
No.
Not make. I guess I want you because some might do it. Like, hey, you got to take this class. Like, this is part of
Or you're a pain in the ass. You need to take my course.
Yeah.
Maybe if I had, we would have done better in Nash Hampshire this year.
Oh my.
But I think the opposite of what you're talking about, Sully, is pressure. If you're not being supportive, you're adding pressure. And I think these kids are dealing with pressure in so many ways sometimes.
Tons.
That's just to relieve that pressure is really valuable. My son, I never really coached any other sports. I believed I couldn't be there the whole time, that I wasn't able to do it. And but I was a volunteer coach with baseball once in a while. And Patrick's buddy's on the mound. He's a coach's kid and head coach, and he can't even find the mitt. And he's better than anyone else. He just throws 3 down the middle. We're good. And the dad finally goes, "Why you go talk to him?" So I go out to the mound. We have 1 out. We're out of this. It's like plus baseball is like 3 hours. In the spring here, it's freezing. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm starving. So I go, Tommy. I go, what's your favorite ice cream? He goes, what? I go, I don't know why people have to do too much. Like vanilla bean is so good. It's simple. Like you put a little Hershey syrup on there, you're golden. Why do we cherry Garcia crunch and all this stuff? Like, what's your favorite ice cream? He goes, well, I think it's mint chocolate chip. I go, why don't you just throw 3 heaters and we'll go get some mint chocolate chip? Oh, this is pretty.
Right.
And he starts laughing. And I go back to the dugout and Tommy goes, toom, toom, toom. The dad goes, what the hell did you say to him?
That's right.
I probably just took some pressure off him. Like, we're just going to have some fun, and get some ice cream.
Simple.
Oh, yeah. So,
by the way, and Dad, you owe him some ice cream. So on your way home, you better stop by and get 3 scoops of mint and chip ice cream. I also told him that.
I told him to give me a cake, too. But, yeah. I mean, it's just, I think we need to relieve some pressure from these guys sometimes, and these women, too. This is just like, it's just too much pressure.
It's so simple when you say it like that. And, it really does. And like at the end of the day, we talk about 1991, these guys won it 93. I mean, we care, but nobody cares. Like it's going to turn into the past. It's a volleyball game. Yes, it's a big one, but it's a volleyball game. And people put so much pressure on themselves, the teams, to win, lose, instead of enjoying the journey and just doing your best. And like, if your best is your best and you win, you were better. If your best is your best and you lost, you weren't better.
Absolutely. It's about the relationships, especially the relationship with you.
Right.
Like how you treat yourself. That's an important relationship.
Yeah. I think I said that in one of the first pods, even with you, Bear, was we had a timeout and I was with the Boise kids and we were getting just rocked. And I called the timeout and I'm laughing, walking up to him and they're like, look at me like, why is he laughing? We're just getting our butt kicked. I'm like, well, we can't play any worse. So just go out there and have some fun. And we wound up winning, you know what I mean? But again, it was taking off that pressure, reading their body language. They were just so like, oh, we got to win this. I'm like, we're awful right now. We can't play any worse. Let's just turn this ship around a little bit. And they did well. Hey, Dave, were you at the finals?
I was.
And like, give us some feedback because us 3 weren't.
I'm sure he's got a
Charlie
lot of feedback from a lot of fans. I will say this. I thought all planets were aligning that Springfield, you had the upper hand going in there, especially after the semifinals, because you guys annihilated, no offense to the Kowloon folks, but annihilated Kowloon. And they really they really held on to beat Juniata for the third time. That's how I felt being in that gym, and it got tight and went to the 5th set and everything for them. And then their right side goes down, coach, and I'm thinking, oh, this final's over. And then we'll just say that the outcome was different than
He's got a lot of fertilizer for the spring, for the summer and the fall next year. Lots. I don't
know what else to say. Put me on the spot with the coach.
But it's hard to get to those finals. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and Coley talks about, made to the finals, and we went to the finals twice. But when you're there, you think, oh, this is always going to happen. And then we won in 91, and the next time they won it is 2017, right? 2018.
I mean,
so they're
Dan Marino going to the Super Bowl, his rookie season, and never went.
It's hard to get to the finals first. So to have you guys go year after year is so impressive. I mean, it's kind of like UCLA way back in the day. They were always in the finals. They're always winning this thing. And man, just to keep this going, where do you see? Okay, college athletics is crazy right now, especially at the Division I level, right? With the transfer portal and the NIL stuff and pay to play, and then we have GCU shutting down their program.
Really, really great decision, GCU. By the way, GCU, do me a favor. If you're listening to this, the president of Grand Canyon University, pull up your social media and just look what happened last weekend at the state or the section volleyball boys championships. Sold out gyms, going crazy. You guys are stupid to cancel that program in your own state when there's thousands of kids, thousands of fans watching young high school kids play championship games. Pull your head out, bring the program back like Cal State Northridge did, bring the program back like Stanford did, and let's start growing the sport of men's volleyball. We have too many great coaches like Coach Sullivan from every level. So yes, if you heard me, pull your head out of your ass, GCU, and bring back men's volleyball.
Yeah, and D3 is growing like crazy. It's growing like crazy right now, and to shut that down, where do you see the world of volleyball in the United States right now collegiately?
Yeah, I just I hope there's some momentum towards some Division I schools adding. I'm hearing some rumblings here and there about these schools that could be adding, but I think we just got to continue to. We have GCU doing the absolute wrong thing, but if there's can be 3 new bursts of a Division I program somehow, that would be phenomenal. But the Division III programs they're absolutely crushing it. We're almost at 140 right now. So 1997 was the first Molten National Championship for Division III. It was the first time like a Division III school had a path to a championship.
Right.
We were in the IBA until 2012. We were actually in the IBA final one year, and that was 2011. And then we couldn't play. We were out of the IBA as a Division III school. But in 97, there were 27 teams. And the thought was that if there was a championship, more Division III schools would add. And it got to 50 in 2012. And so we're just over 10 years from that now. And we're almost triple that, almost 140, so almost 150. So the growth's been phenomenal. So
it's been
really
awesome.
It's been great for us, all 3 of us, to learn about D3 volleyball more. I mean, I know Cal Lou, and I know some of the coaches out there, but never really followed it. And starting this podcast is like you said, you're always learning and evolving and trying to grow it. I've always knew it was there, but to see how exciting it is and how it's played and how many teams and how much opportunity and how big it is. Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, we're going to talk about it for the next 10 years of us doing this pod. So I can tell you that D3 is going to get a lot of love from at least us.
Yeah, for sure.
It's such a great level and so fun to be a part of it and watch games. And we're talking all the time and doing all that and stuff. So it's been great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, if I can help.
Well, fellas, it's been an hour. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Crazy. Coach Sullivan, Charlie, Coach Sullivan, congratulations on a great career, man. Hopefully you're not going to step down anytime soon because D3 needs you. Your success has been amazing. And all of us, I take it from all of us, we really appreciate you coming on Set the Pipe, man.
Great seeing
you. Wow, it was great talking to you guys. It was a lot of fun. So I appreciate the time. And
we'd love to have you back, Coach. That's the other thing. Sure. Like this is, just an hour of us chatting. But, next year when the fertilizer's no longer smelling and you've been watering the lawn, we would love to, no, I'm joking, but it's the truth. I'd love to hear, where you are, next October, right before the season's starting and, all the work you've done and some of the kids that were on the team that, weren't successful this past season and some of the new kids coming on that feel what they felt. We'd love to chat with you and hear more about, maybe there's some more
D3
teams that
preview.
also, D3 preview, as well as how many more D3 teams are coming into the mix for the following year, and how else you guys are looking at the growth of the game.
Sounds great, guys. I had fun talking to you guys.
Think you got a good shot next year, Coach?
It's always the goal, so we'll see.
So yes, yes is the point.
Humility.
It's so hard to tell right now with the portal. I mean, 3 outside hitters from BYU could end up at Division III school, and that changes the whole landscape. So
it's crazy.
You never know.
So right now, though, I'm going to call you just like DDTD. I'm going to put you on the spot. They're going to do a preseason ranking. You're one of the coaches. Where are you guys sitting next October or November when they go, here's the first preseason rankings for D3? Like, I mean, I can tell you right now, if Moni comes back, I can say Long Beach would be number 1. So that's like, okay, Long Beach is number 1. Where would you guys be, do you think?
If it's today, we're probably 1 or 2.
Okay.
We lost 1 starter, and most of these programs that went far were like SVU had 6 to 7, 5 or 6 year guys.
Yeah.
So Kalu had a lot of older guys, grad students and seniors. So most of our competition, the best teams in the country this year, are graduating and leaving a lot. Turning over the rosters. But if like I said, if 3 Division I school players end up at a small
someone from Grand Canyon needs somewhere to go, right?
Absolutely.
To play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's siding out for Kalu out here. So
we're working the portal hard. We're trying to do our best to stay in front of that train.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks so much for coming on, Coach.
I'll ask you off air. What did Knife say about the change? Was it?
You can ask us on air. Knife asked us about what'd you say? I'm sorry.
You said you even asked Alan Knife about the significant changes in the game that's taken place over the last 20 years, and you thought data analytics was one of those significant changes. What did he say?
The biggest one is like speed. Like the speed of the ball, the speed of the offense. Obviously, everyone's bigger, but that's really what it came down to. Also, what you said was the ingenuity of the game. Like when we were playing, we set the pipe, right? And it was, now they set a low X2 out of the back row, and they call it the BIC. People are flying out of the back row, hitting the ball 2.5 feet above the net. You don't even know where it's coming from. So like that stuff, the ingenuity of changing the game, and really the speed is what he said is where he's seen differently.
And with Moni's setting, he's changing the setter position. Now everybody's trying to emulate what he just did. Some of the highlights, it's like no one's done that. And now you're seeing towards the end of the season, UCLA's pulling that off. SC's trying to do the fancy stuff. It could be the way setters are going to do from this point forward. So, again, more evolution for our sport, which is great.
Really cool. Really cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Great
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.